Good day, my dear students and colleagues. My name is Shagimoldina M O. I am biologist teacher in Nazarbayev Intellectual School of Astana. And today we will look at excretory system. Before doing excretory system, we also will look at homeostasis, regulation of internal environment. And today's our objectives. Today we should define the term excretion and explain the importance of removing nitrogenous waste products and carbon dioxide from the body, describe the gross structure of the kidney and the detailed structure of the nephron with the associated blood vessels. Okay, homeostasis, as we already said, it is the regulation of internal environment. First one is thermoregulation, internal temperature. Osmoregulation, solute and water balance. Excretion, nitrogen containing waste. Okay. Homeostasis, controlling the internal environment within narrow limits. Changes in pH, temperature, solute concentration, and water are all factors that affect the efficiency of cellular processes. pH and temperature are factors that affect enzyme pathways. In addition, the concentration of blood and tissue fluid must be controlled, as they will have osmotic effect on solutions. The exchange of gases, carbon dioxide and oxygen, are also important for efficient cell processes. Carbon dioxide, if it is allowed to accumulate, creates acidic conditions unsuitable for enzyme function. Oxygen depletion reduces the rate of respiration and determines important processes such as active transport. Homeostasis is the name given to the combination of processes that control the internal environment. Various factors are controlled within very narrow limits. Failing to control such conditions leads to inefficiencies, system failures, and in some instances can be fatal, dangerous. Monitoring and responding. Homeostasis involves monitoring levels of variables and correcting changes in levels by negative feedback mechanisms. Okay, this model here, here you see narrows feedback, stimuli, receptor, coordinator, effector, and response. This model represents the main features of a negative feedback mechanism. Specialized receptors detect changes in internal conditions. First will be stimuli, then receptor will detect that. This information is relayed to a central coordinator that determines the level of response. Then the coordinator relays the signal in the form of an effector that is specialized to produce the response behavior, and then will be response, and the level will become into the constant level. Okay, look at the nervous system. Consists of the central nervous system, CNS, which coordinates responses and includes the brain and spine. Peripheral nerves, which include sensory neurons and motor neurons. Special cells called neurons that carry can carry electrical impulses rapidly. Okay, this is diagram of the nervous system. Homeostasis and the control of the nervous system. First, stimuli are the internal changes in pH, temperature, glucose level, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Receptors are the specialized cells will detect that and change and convert this information into nerve impulses. Then sensory neuron are nerve cells that relay the nerve impulses to the coordinators of the central nervous system. And the coordinators are regions. It could be brain or spine, and it will determine the appropriate response. Think about which kind of response it could give. Motor neuron relay the response nerve to the effector, and effector is the organ or tissues or cells that react to the motor nerve input, producing a response that will bring about control of changing conditions. This is the negative feedback mechanism. The main function of the negative feedback mechanism is to keep the level of, pH, temperature, glucose, carbon dioxide or oxygen in the constant level. Okay, now let's look at the temperature control. Control of body temperature, including the transfer of heat in blood, the role of sweat glands and skin, arterioles and shivering. Okay, model of temperature control. The sensors are found in the hypothalamus. Effectors are found in the skin and in muscles. The fixed point for regulation is around 37.8 degrees centigrade. Increase in body temperature. First happen increase in the body temperature. Then hypothalamus receptor detect that the body temperature is increasing. Then effector response, sweating, vasodilation and hair's flat. Hypothalamus detects that temperature falls, and after that effector organs will respond like vasoconstriction and hair rises, if temperature falls down, and then it becomes into the fixed regulation point. As you know, in human body it is approximately normal temperature, it is 36.6. Okay, temperature control. Particular features of skin involved in temperature regulation. Hairs with the erector pili muscle, sweat glands, blood arterioles. The skin is an effector in the control of body temperature. It is particularly important to prevent cooling or overheating of the core, essential organs and brains. That is why our homeostasis will control temperature and keep it in a constant level. For example, when body temperature falls, blood flow to the surface area arteriole is reduced. Think about very cold temperature in the winter. Notice here in picture, A is dilated, but B and C are vasoconstricted. B and C. Less heat is lost to the environment by radiation. That is why the arterioles on the surface will reduce. Heat is retained in the core. When it is warm, Yeah, when a person is sweating in hot summer day, blood flow to the surface is increase, and that is why a person start to sweat. In the picture, A is closed and B and C arterioles are open. Okay, blood flows closer to surface, more heat is lost to the external environment, core temperature is reduced, called vasodilation. Okay, sweating and heat loss. You could look at this topic on your own, okay, because this is not so difficult topic. Okay, shivering and heat gain. This you could also look at your own time. Hair and temperature control. In warm weather, the rectopili muscles are relaxed and the hairs lie flat. This prevents a build-up of a boundary layer of warm air. Air movement will further accelerate the loss of heat. In cold weather, the rectopili muscle contracts and the hair moves vertically. This traps a boundary layer of warm air that reduces the temperature gradient and in turn reduces heat loss. Okay, and also endocrine control of homeostasis. Hormones, either proteins or steroids, are synthesized by endocrine glands. It also works in inside of the homeostasis. Endocrine control of homeostasis. Hormones, glands will secrete these hormones into the bloodstream directly. The hormone travels in the blood to the target tissue affected that brings about a response. The response modifies the external environment and this becomes feedback to the stimulus. This system is slower than that of the nervous system, but the response tends to be longer lasting. Note that one hormone can have a number of target tissues and the responses can be quite different from each of the targets. Look at this diagram. You see first stimuli. Stimuli react and then endocrine glands will respond that and will release into the bloodstream some hormones, and that hormones will react into the target tissues and then after that become response, and after that it becomes into the normal level. For example, insulin, how insulin works. For example, glucose concentration level. They are two hormones which could keep in the constant level, insulin and glucagon. Control of blood glucose concentration. Blood sugar concentration is regulated for a number of reasons, including osmosis. Content of a tissue is determined by the concentration of the surrounding tissues. Respiration, some tissues being unable to store glucose or metabolize fat depends entirely on blood sugar as a respiratory substrate. Okay, if you look at this diagram here, you could easily see how blood glucose concentration is regulating. If the glucose concentration will be higher in person's bloodstream, for example, after meal, it will secrete insulin from the pancreas, and insulin will react into the liver, and liver will start to remove glucose, from the bloodstream and start to deposit it into its cells as a glucagon. Okay, and with this happen with help of beta cells, and if vice versa, for example, blood sugar level is low, then in the pancreas we'll have the second type of cells, which we call alpha cells. Alpha cells will release into the bloodstream glucagon, and glucagon will react into the liver, and liver will add glucose, convert glucagon into the glucose again, and add it into the bloodstream, and then our blood will have the constant level of glucose concentration. This is how it works. Okay, I think it's clear, yeah? And the next part of the homeostasis is excretion, our basic topic for today. Excretion is removal of waste substances formed in the cells of the body, osmoregulation, control of salt-water balance in the blood, so as to provide a constant osmotic environment around the body cells. All living organisms need to excrete. Yeah? Definition of excretion: the removal from the body of metabolic waste from the cells, tissue, fluids, and blood. Metabolic waste molecules are the byproducts of chemical reactions within the body. These waste molecules are toxic in some forms and must not be allowed to accumulate in tissues. Toxicity might be due to change in pH, enzyme inhibition, and action of mutagens, along with a wide variety of other effects. As you see from this information, that excretion products should be excreted from our organism to avoiding destroying of our homeostasis, normal functioning of our body, because it could change pH or inhibit enzymes work. What is excretion? The removal from the body of metabolic waste from the cells, tissue, fluids, and blood, as we already said. Excretion is not limited to the kidneys and urine production. Carbon dioxide is a toxic waste that is excreted by lungs when we exhale. Also, we could excrete, for example, some urine with help of our skin. Excretory products. First, organs and products. Organ, leaf, in plants. Excretory product there is oxygen from photosynthesis, lungs, carbon dioxide and water. Skin excretes sweat containing water, ions and urea. Kidneys, mammals excrete urine, which contains varying quantities of urea, mineral ions and water. Other compounds may also be excreted. For example, in birds, excrete a paste-like substances called uric acid. Yeah? Gills, fish excrete ammonia. The human kidneys. The human kidneys are two bean-shaped organs, one of each side of a backbone. The kidney represents about 0.5% of the total weight of the body, but receives 20-25% of the total arterial blood pumped by the heart. Each contains some 1 million nephrons, each kidney. Structure of the kidney. There are normally two kidneys, commonly referred to as left and right. Each kidney is supplied by branch of the aorta, giving the left and right renal artery. The filtered blood is returned to the vena cava from each kidney by a renal vein. The urine produced by each kidney is transported via a ureter to the bladder. Okay, now look, first let's look at this picture. You see that two kidneys situated in the mostly in the back side of our body. We have two kidneys. Each kidney connected with the ureter, and two ureters from two kidneys then connect with the bladder. Yeah, with the urethra, our waste products go external, go outside. Renal artery comes with the dirty blood, let's say dirty blood, from the aorta, and then after filtering, cleaning of kidney, the renal vein goes in with the clean blood again into the vena cava. Yeah, okay, this is the real picture of the kidney. The blood content of water, urea and salt is determined by the filtering mechanism of the kidney. Blood enters the kidney via the renal artery, and its contents are adjusted by removing combination of the following molecules: water, urea and salts. The filtered blood is returned to the main circulation via the renal vein. The compounds removed, known as urine, are collected in the bladder and periodically released to outside the body. If the blood is hypertonic, then more water is removed from the blood and the urine produced will be dilute. But if the blood is hypertonic, then water is retained in blood and increased level of salts released. This urine is more concentrated. It will not be dilute. Yeah? Okay, now we will look at the basic structure of kidney. We said that each kidney could consist of several millions of nephrons. What is nephrons? There are hundreds of thousands of nephrons in a kidney. The nephrons is a tube closed at one end. The tube is convoluted and about 3 centimeters in length in the human kidney. All combined together, the nephrons of a kidney would cover a distance of over 100 kilometers. The nephron is the basic unit of filtration in the kidney. Look at this structure. This is the structure of nephron. In this picture, you see it is labeled. Yeah. First, what is? Let's look at the picture and at the letters. A is the afferent arteriole. a branch of the renal artery which come with the dirty blood, we said, yeah. B is the Malpighian body or Bowman's capsule. Okay, the Bowman's capsule, renal capsule, the expanded end of the nephron formed into a cap shape. You could see it from the picture. Bowman's capsule, it is like this one capsule, yeah, labeled B. The glomerulus is a multiple branch of the afferent arteriole before rejoining to the efferent arteriole. What is glomerulus? Glomerulus, it is the multiple branch of the arteriole. Together, the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus are known as the Malpighian body. Yeah, here it is labeled B. Label C, efferent arteriole, narrower than afferent, join together to form the renal vein. It join together and form renal vein and go into the vena cava. D, proximal convoluted tubule, 14 millimeter long, diameter is 60 nanometer. Longest section of the nephron, yeah, this convoluted, proximal convoluted tubule is the longest. Loop of Henle, next one is loop of Henle. It looks like loop, that's why it calls loop, okay. F, it is distal convoluted tubule. Then G, it is collecting duct, yeah, which opens into the pelvic region, and then from the old pelvic it go into the bladder, and then from the bladder it goes out. Ultrafiltration, formation of kidney filtrate. The Malpighian body is the location of ultrafiltration. The glomerulus increases blood pressure by forming narrow branches, also an increase in surface area for filtration. Yeah, look at this Malpighian body. Malpighian body, we said, consists of two basic parts: Bowman's capsule and glomerulus. Afferent arteriole come from the aorta. That is why it has a high pressure. But after inside of the glomerulus, it will clean up and then go into the afferent arteriole. Okay. The pressure is maintained by the narrower efferent arteriole, which restricted the outflow of blood from the glomerulus. The expanded end of the nephron forms an invagination to form a cap that accommodates the glomerulus. The efferent blood vessel associated itself with the other regions of nephrons for selective reabsorption. Yeah? Composition of blood and renal fluids. Composition of blood, nephric filtrate and urine, each in gram, okay, in 100 milliliter of fluid. These are representative values. The values for salts are especially variable depending on salt and water intake. Okay, look at this table. Component urea, uric acid, glucose, amino acids, total inorganic salts, and proteins and other macromolecules. In plasma, in blood, we have them in numbers. Here, for example, urea, it is 0.03. uric acid 0.004, glucose 0.1, amino acids 0.05, total inorganic salts 0.9, and proteins 8. Okay, in urine, look at the urine. Urea there are very concentrated, 1.8, uric acid 0.05, glucose should be none. In urine we shouldn't have glucose. Yeah, if person has glucose in his urine, it could be like first sign of diabetes. That's why it is important to know. And inside of the urine, amino acids should be also none, because the neuron couldn't release it. Total inorganic salts should be 0.9 to 3.6. Okay, and proteins none. Okay, this is the basic concentration. Yeah, you should know the difference between plasma and urine components. The kidneys mechanism: ultrafiltration, reabsorption, and secretion. What is ultrafiltration? Ultrafiltration occurs in the renal of Bowman capsule. As we already said, the renal artery, which brings blood to the kidney, is split up into numerous arterioles which feeding a nephron. The arterioles split into numerous capillaries which form a knot called a glomerulus. This is surrounded by a Bowman's capsule. Ultrafiltration happens in the Bowman's capsule inside of the glomerulus. The arteriole leading into the glomerulus is wider than the one leading out, so there is a high blood pressure in the capillaries of the glomerulus. This pressure forces plasma out of the blood by ultrafiltration. Once the blood is filtered in this way, only blood cells and the large plasma proteins remain in the blood and continue into the proximal convoluted tubule. Yeah? Selective reabsorption occurs or happens in the proximal convoluted tubule. This is the longest and widest part of the nephron. In this part, over 80% of the filtrate is reabsorbed into the blood again. Yeah? Ensures all useful material is returned to the blood. For example, glucose, amino acids, 85% of mineral ions are reabsorbed by active transport in the proximal convoluted tubule. 80% of water is reabsorbed back into the blood by osmosis. The proximal convoluted tubule cells have many mitochondria to provide ATP for active transport, because we said that reabsorption, again, yeah, glucose, amino acids, and salts happens by active transport. Okay. Where happens selective reabsorption? In proximal convoluted tubule. Tubular secretion. Also, urine formation occurs primarily by the filtration reabsorption mechanism described above. An auxiliary mechanism called tubular secretion is also involved. Secretion of hydrogen ions allows the kidney to maintain control of pH of the blood. Okay, formation of urine. The nephron makes urine by filtering the blood of its small molecules and ions, and then reclaiming the needed amounts of useful materials. Yeah, sulfurs or waste molecules and ions are left to flow out as urine. In 24 hours, the kidney reclaim 650 grams of these materials. Look at these materials together. The steps. Blood enters the nephrons glomerulus and the pressure. This causes water, small molecules, but not macromolecules like proteins and ions to filter through the capillary wall into the Bowman's capsule. Okay, now blood passing through part of the brain. Hypothalamus is constantly monitored. If its water content falls, then the hormone ADH is released into the blood from the pituitary gland near to the hypothalamus. The ADH passes via the bloodstream to the kidneys, where it causes more water to be reabsorbed from the nephrons. ADH, this hormone control, homeostasis in the kidney. Okay, homeostasis in the kidney. Control center. First one, sense organ. Information, for example, first information, water content of blood, information go into the sense organ. Hypothalamus detect fall or rise of the water content in blood, and it go into the control center, pituitary gland, and that gland will give message into the ADH, releasing more or less ADH, and by that control reabsorption, more or less water. And here, this is how it works. Osmoregulation, the control of the water balance in the blood, tissue, and cytoplasm of a living organism, we call osmoregulation. The water content of body fluid has to be controlled such that the movement of water to and from cells can be controlled. The body experiences external and internal changes such as drinking water, availability, sweating, and the accumulation of salts that require adjustments in the water content of blood, tissues, and cytoplasm. Osmoregulation is under the control of receptors in the hypothalamus. In responses to change, the hypothalamus controls the sensation of thirst and also the endocrine secretion of antidiuretic hormone. ADH is secreted from the pituitary gland and causes the opening of cell membrane pores called aquaporins, which allows water reabsorption into blood. The process of control and regulation in the kidney begins with a non-discriminating filtration that removes just as many useful substances as harmful ones from the blood to make filtrate. The kidney then takes back from the filtrate to the blood those substances that it still requires, needs in the blood. The beauty of the way the kidney works is that it's able to control how much of a substance it reabsorbs back into the blood. This is what we call regulation. I hope you enjoy our today's lesson, and your homework, I didn't write your homework, but your homework will be to look at the whole homeostasis, how homeostasis control, for example, how happen controlling of glucose concentration, temperature, regulation, and also how kidney works in the human body, and look in more depth at the kidney structure, especially nephron structure. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy our today's lesson. See you on our next lesson. Bye.